He is always on point and he is moving super fast. He actually introduced us as being on Thursday tonight. Mr. Herschel, you're in the future, brother.
No,
You're
I
moving so
said two. I
fast.
said Tuesday and Thursday.
No,
So,
before that.
oh, okay. Well, I cleaned it up.
You did, no, you did, 100%. But that's just because you're already in the future, brother. Just like our friends in the Asia Pacific. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, no, I don't have a lot to share with everybody. I'm just super excited with all that's going on. It's a new season that's coming upon us, and we're starting some really powerful conversations. A lot of deals being closed. So it's really exciting to see what's happening. And yeah, man, especially with the promos that are being run, there are five amazing promos on deck right now. Just encourage everybody to take advantage of those promos before they come off the table. MoveQuest is like an amazing place to participate right now. So just take advantage of everything that's on the table. Mr. Herschel Crow, back over to you. I encourage everybody to just max out, stay lit, and level up.
All right. Well, we definitely thank you for that and all that you do within the community as well. So we're going to go ahead and bring up Miss Lynette. How are you doing this evening, ma'am?
I'm doing good. It was kind of funny. I beat everybody to the Zoom room tonight.
I saw
I
that.
never do that. It's like I'm always rushing, like, oh, I got to hurry up and get there quick. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm doing great. It's awfully cold here in Michigan, but it's supposed to be switching up here pretty soon. So that's a good thing. All right. So I'm ready to move along. Tonight, you guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen quick. Let's see here. Okay. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
That's showing. All
Yes.
right, very good. All right, guys. So what I'm doing tonight, I'm going to go over the MoveQuest map. I think it's going to give everybody a much better visual. I'm gonna I'm gonna drop this down real quick just so you can see. Okay, it's a lot. You can't read that obviously, but I want to go through this because I think that this helps to explain MoveQuest a lot easier. I sit here and battle with these presentations, trying to get everything on a presentation. I told everybody, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just map this whole thing out anyway, and it's going to help with the flow on the website and stuff too. So I'm going to get started sharing this with all of you, and we'll make it available. In fact, I sent it into the core group. Herschel, I don't know if there's a way for you to send it out as a PDF in the chat. Maybe before this is over, we can make it available.
Yeah, I'll work
Uh,
on that while you're talking. Sure, go right ahead.
Yep, and what I would like everybody to do is to try to really study this because I think it will explain MoveQuest. A lot of people get confused with it, and I've been going through the website, and there's some things that we want to change. Hayden also has been doing the same thing with a couple of other people, so hopefully we'll be able to use this and get things a lot more simplified for people because this is one beast of a project. So the first thing a person needs to do when they come to MoveQuest, right, is download the MoveQuest app. It's in the Google Play Store. It's also in the Apple App Store. You're gonna also download a DApp wallet. You need to fund your DApp wallet, and you need to link your wallet. Now remember, it's read only. You're going to connect your smartphone and your fitness tracker. Androids use Health Connect first. Then they connect to Samsung Health or Google Fit next. iPhones use Apple Health. You're going to have to give in-app permissions that allow MoveQuest to read your steps, distance, workouts, calories burned, and sleep. Once you've done that, you can set your goals anywhere up to 12,000 steps, up to 6 miles, up to 1 hour, up to 800 calories burned, or up to 6 hours of sleep. You can boost these levels, these steps, distance, workouts, calories burned, and sleep. You can boost them with performance and limits. Okay, all of that. Now, the boosts are utility. They're also liquidity. Okay, for all of the boosts. Whenever you buy those, it's using MoveQuest. That MoveQuest is paired to USDT. Now, from there, a person who's just getting started with MoveQuest, we recommend they get started and claim those 18 free phantom miners. There's no miner purchase required. They're virtual miners. They expire in 35 days. That gives people time to understand what this project is, how it works, what they need to do, navigate through the dashboard, and feel really comfortable with it. And as soon as they are, then they can mint those actual NFT miners. They can claim, move, and mine MoveQuest just like you can with any of the other NFT miners. The Phantom miners, I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so make sure I'm at the top. Okay, Phantom miners. Okay, we're going to start here at this top. When you mine with MoveQuest, there's a mining dock. This is where you plug your miners in. So it's not the first step you have to do, but it is the step before you can start mining. Not with the Phantoms because they're virtual. But you're going to unlock your mining dock slots. You can mine with a maximum of 18 slots. They are $80 right now, but just so everybody knows, they are going up to $100 per dock slot. So I put up what the new price is going to be on those. And the mining dock slots are utility and liquidity. So when you mint your MoveQuest miners, you're able to plug them into those mining docks. So when you are mining with Phantom miners, that's 100 volts. So they're equal to the Trailblazer, except that they don't have attribute element or intensity bonuses. So they have the 100 volts. They're free to mine with for 135 days. No mining dock is required. You submit your proof of physical activity. That proof of physical activity, its utility and liquidity. Navigators are 50 volts. They have a market value of $50. A full dock of navigators will run you $900. That's also utility and liquidity. You can evolve to a Trailblazer. That will cost you $50. $50 for the navigator, $50 to evolve it to a Trailblazer. That's the $100, which is what a Trailblazer costs. The total cost, 100. Max volts in your mining dock is 900 volts, utility and liquidity. The Trailblazers, they have 100 plus volts, okay, because they do have the element attribute and the intensity step bonuses. Trailblazers have a $100 value. A full dock would cost $1,800. When you spend that $1,800 to mint a Trailblazer, you're buying the Q chips, okay? That AVAX that is used to buy, or the USDT that's used to buy the Q chips, is paired to MQT, okay? So not only is the miner a utility of the project, but it's also providing liquidity. You can evolve your Trailblazers to an Explorer. It's got a $50 cost. You spend 100 for the Trailblazer, 50 for the Explorer. Explorers are $150. Max volts in your mining dock is 1,800, okay? That's also, like I said, above utility liquidity. Explorers, they're $150. A full dock will cost $2,700. You can evolve to the Vanguards for the additional $50, which makes your Vanguard a total cost of $200. Max volts, 2,700. The Vanguards, 200 plus volts or mining power, 200% mining power, 200 plus volts. Each Vanguard is $200. A full dock would cost you $3,600. You can evolve to Titans by merging two Vanguards plus $400 because your Titans are 800. So by the time, if you started out with a Navigator and you evolved all the way up to a Titan, you would spend $800 for that Titan. Max volts is 3,600. Your Titan, when you evolve and merge to that Titan miner, 400 plus volts. It will cost $800 per Titan, and you are now mining with 7,200 mining volts. And again, it's also utility and liquidity. So, explaining the MoveQuest mining difficulty. Based on supply and demand and the daily proof of physical activity submissions, 0.25 MoveQuest is mined per proof of physical activity submission. So an example would be if there's 2,000 wallets that have submitted their proof of physical activity, you would multiply that by 0.25, and that would equal 500 MoveQuests that could be mined that day. 10,000 proof of physical activity submissions multiplied by 0.25 would mean 2,500 MoveQuest could be mined that day. So the mining difficulty is high right now. And as you know, the community grows and there's more proof of physical activity submissions, the MoveQuest does increase, but the difficulty is still going to be based on that supply and demand for that token. So daily proof of physical activity. Okay, mining, the max right now is 3,700 per day that could be mined from your proof of physical activity. With the daily farming, the max is 3,500. Okay, and that puts you at the 7,200 that can be mined on a daily basis, based on, of course, the number of proof of physical activity submissions that are coming through. And the proof of physical activity submission, that is required, okay, to qualify for mining or for the farming yield. Now, once you've got your miners minted, whether you're going to use the Phantoms or you're going to mint Trailblazers, whatever it is you decide, you can begin to farm that MoveQuest in the hatcheries. That's free. You don't have to pay anything to go into the hatcheries, but it does give you that additional MoveQuest that isn't in the daily mining. You have to submit every day to get that to mine the MoveQuest and to also farm the MoveQuest. So all you have to do is deposit the MoveQuest depending on where you want to start. In order to get into the golden hatchery, you have to start farming in the incubator or the nest to enter the golden hatchery. So the incubator, if you want, and I tell people, if you are going to start out with vanguards, you don't want to, or I'm sorry, if you want to go to a vanguard and pay for the vanguard, you don't want to evolve that vanguard. Skip that evolution because it costs the same. It doesn't matter if you get it through the incubator or you evolve it. Whether it's going to have gotten free Trailblazers or something like that, it's a different story. You didn't spend that $100 there. But if you're going to go out of pocket, you might as well start in the incubator because you're going to spend that $200 to mint that Vanguard instantly. When you do that, it's done in MoveQuest. Okay, so you would take that $200 divided by the market value of MoveQuest. At today's market value, you would need 33.11 MoveQuest tokens. Okay, now that 33 MoveQuest tokens is going to farm at a rate of 0.0001 MoveQuest per day. So you wouldn't, at the end of the incubator, get the 33 MoveQuest back because you minted that Vanguard, but you are going to earn those farming rewards every day that you submit, and you're going to get those for 222 days. So it's just kind of a perk. And again, this is all utility and liquidity as well. Now, if you don't do the incubator, the nest is 10 days, and you farm at a rate of 0.0003 per MoveQuest, okay, that you have staked or deposited into the nest. And I always tell people lately in the last few, especially after we did that mirrored miners, or not mirrored miners, but the tier 5, a lot of people would have preferred to move into tier 5, and they had large hatchery cards that they're farming with. So break them down into smaller cards. Let's say you have 100 MoveQuest tokens. Maybe you do 5, cards of 20 MoveQuests. That way, if an emergency or something comes up, you can cancel one card instead of canceling them all. You do the nest for 10 days. Okay, I did that. Golden hatchery. You're going to pick your tier. And I'm going to tell you why you want to do the smaller cards so that you can see this. If you were to go into tier 4, and that's farming for 210 days, your farming rate is 0.0022 per MoveQuest per day, and it compounds automatically. So whatever MoveQuest you would have farmed today, it is calculated into the balance of what your farming would be for the next day. If you have just a card, let's say of 100 MoveQuest tokens, right, in tier 4, and you'd been mining for, let's say, 75 days, and you wanted to cancel, you would get all of your MoveQuest back, but you would forfeit your farming, the farmed MoveQuest. And here's why. 75 days is only a rate of 0.0009 per MoveQuest. And so for people who are in this tier, who have mined for 75 days, it's not fair to them if you were in tier 4 and canceled on day 75 and got the rate of 0.0022. So you do forfeit anything you farm. So you want to be careful to make sure, because you never know what's going to come up in life, right? Make sure that if you need access to your MoveQuest that you don't have to remove all of it from one of the higher tiers. So you get to choose between the 5 tiers. Tier 5 is maxed. And as the demand for the MoveQuest, or if the supply and the demand aren't balanced, then these hatcheries would increase the amount that could be farmed on, or that could be deposited to farm MoveQuest. But right now, the max are pretty well set. Um, and so it doesn't have, I mean, I don't see them being increased anytime in the extreme near future. But as the community grows, then you'll be able to move into tier 5, as that gets increased. Tier 1, 30 days. Tier 2, 75. Tier 3, 135 days. Tier 4, 210. Tier 5, 323 days. It does provide utility and liquidity. The use for the MoveQuest token, which is staking that into the hatchery, and the liquidity effect that it has is that everyone who is farming MoveQuest in the hatcheries is you are locking it into a smart contract, farming those MoveQuest tokens from your proof of physical activity, right? Because you have to submit that proof of physical activity. There's a couple of reasons for that. But the main reason is so that people that are not engaged in the ecosystem, who are not mining MoveQuest, don't go to the market, buy the MoveQuest, deposit it to farm the MoveQuest. Okay, they have to be actively engaged in the ecosystem, and they have to contribute to that liquidity, because that's what the engagement of this is, right? Every time you engage within the project, you're generating liquidity that's being injected into that pool. So if you're coming from the outside, you just get to buy MoveQuest and just deposit it and stake it for additional MoveQuest. It actually has the opposite effect on the stability of the project, because they're not here for the engagement in the project, but they're here more on a return on investment kind of a thing. And so they're not contributing to the stability of that market value and the liquidity that backs that market value. So you have to be a miner. You have to be mining. You have to submit that proof of physical activity to even be able to stake in the hatcheries. And so it does have a positive effect on the liquidity pool, because it is removing the excess MoveQuest tokens that are in circulation. And that helps to decrease selling pressure and to be able to stabilize that liquidity pool. Now, we also offer an optional affiliate feature, okay, that's designed to help build the community while we reward those who are sharing the project. This is a peer-to-peer community. This is a community engaged project. And with any crypto project, that peer-to-peer engagement is extremely crucial and important. We don't require new investors, new money. We don't focus on that. That's why we encourage everybody to start over here with those free, where are they at over here? These free phantom miners, because the project doesn't rely on that, and that still is an engaged community, or the engagement within the ecosystem. But we do need to build the community and start sharing what MoveQuest is. So when somebody mints a Trailblazer or an Explorer miner through your activation code, which is your wallet address that you're mining with, the system automatically distributes 50% of that minting fee through the smart contract. So it's fully smart contract managed. It's instant, real time, instant payouts. Okay. All you have to do is go claim that money, and immediately it's in your wallet. You connect your wallet, and that smart contract has already escrowed it and has it banked for you, waiting for you to make a call to that smart contract, and it's immediately deposited into your wallet. There's no manual processing. Okay, you're not waiting for somebody who's sitting behind, the screen of a computer to approve a withdrawal request. Nothing like that here. Everything is transparent and everything's on chain transactions. So this means that the rewards are distributed automatically the moment a mint occurs. Okay, that ensures fairness, transparency, and that immediate compensation for those helping to expand the MoveQuest ecosystem. So by sharing MoveQuest, you're not only encouraging healthier lifestyles to improve physical activity, but you're also helping build a stronger, more engaged community. Now I'm going to go over how this works. The Trailblazers are $100. The Explorers are $150. And you need to buy Q chips in the MoveQuest store in order to mint those Trailblazers and the Explorers. You want to use that affiliate activation code. I'm just going to show you what you get if you just had two direct affiliates, okay, that you shared it with. You're going to get the direct commission, 50%. So it's $50 instant commission on Trailblazers, 75 on your Explorers. How this works with the liquidity. The liquidity, because MoveQuest already has millions of MoveQuest banked over the last 1.5 years from buying MoveQuest, from MoveQuest that wasn't mined. You know, remember, MoveQuest can't sell, or yeah, the project itself, anybody. Okay, we don't get those tokens allocated to us. Anything that comes into the ecosystem, it stays with the community. So those are in a liquidity bank. And so that MoveQuest is sitting there just waiting to be paired. So liquidity, $50 it takes from the bank's MoveQuest and pairs it to the remaining 50%. So what this does is you get that total commission of $50 plus you still get the $100 worth of liquidity that's injected into the ecosystem or the liquidity pool. So it's backing each miner's mint by 150%, not just $50. Okay, because when 50 comes out and goes out in commission, that left 50 available. Okay. In any other scenario, you'd have to take 50% of that, go buy $25 of MoveQuest, come back and pair it to the remaining $25. Okay, so deposit $50 into the liquidity. But instead, here it pays out the $50 in commission. It grabs $50 of MoveQuest, pairs it to $50 USDT, and it's $100 that goes into the liquidity pool. So that's very strong. And on the other side with the Explorer, it would be 150 because of the commission being 75, it's $50 more. Now, after the commissions, the ecosystem, I already said that to you. Okay, now we're going to talk about the what you earn on that. When one referral mints 18 Trailblazers, that's what you can mine with, is a full back is 18. Now, if you mint those Trailblazers before your phantoms expire, you can actually mine with 18 Trailblazers plus 9 phantoms. So that's 27 miners that you can mine with for however many days your phantoms are still active and haven't expired. Your total commission on somebody that you've shared MoveQuest with is $900. If you did that with two people, you would earn $1,800. That's enough to cover your Trailblazers being minted. You also, when you share it with somebody who unlocks those 18 dock slots to plug in those miners, you get one free Vanguard. So when they mint the miners, you get the 50 or the 50% commission. When they unlock the mining dock slots to plug the 18 miners into, you get that extra free Vanguard. So you're getting an $1,100 value there when somebody registers and signs up with MoveQuest minting those 18 Trailblazers. And if it's two people, it's actually a $2,200 value. And remember, that's all paid out instantly and in real time. With the Explorers, it's $1,350 in commission because the total cost with 18 Explorers would be $2,700. And again, when the person you shared MoveQuest with unlocks that mining dock slot, or 18 of them, on the 18th dock slot they unlock, you immediately have that free Vanguard that's been deposited into your inventory. Now, I've asked Wally to make those claimable so that people see, what they're getting. Because sometimes it's hard if it just goes into your inventory. Some people have a lot of miners and you don't realize, oh, I did get that, unless you go look on the blockchain. All of this contributes to the utility and the liquidity of the project. Everything you touch in this project is utility and liquidity, and that's what makes MoveQuest so stable. The next thing I'm going to share with you is what is going live hopefully by Thursday, okay? When you've referred somebody, okay, and they're mining with a minimum of 1,800 volts. That doesn't matter if it's phantoms or Trailblazers. It has to be a minimum of 1,800 volts. If it's more than that, that's fine. It just can't be under that. And if they submit for 120 days out of what a phantom's shelf life would be, which is 135 days, they will be able to claim 4 free Navigator miners on the MoveQuest blockchain and the Avalanche blockchain. So all they have to do is be mining with 1,800 volts or more. Nothing. They can't mine with less. It has to be the 1,800. And it's the same thing with um, the Explorer miners. I just have it here because it goes in line with the Explorers. They get the same thing. They get the four miners on the two blockchains. Now, for the person who shared MoveQuest, if you've submitted for 120 days out of that 135, you also get those four Navigator miners on both blockchains. If you've shared it with two people, then you would have eight because you would get the four. The reason this piece has been implemented is because one thing that we've noticed is that when somebody shares MoveQuest with a person, they don't always stay informed or stay active with the person they shared MoveQuest with. And so this is our way of trying to keep you engaged with the people you share MoveQuest with and to kind of give each other that support. So you know if they're submitting for the 120 days and you submit for the 120 days, you're both going to get those free Navigator miners. Okay, so that would give you a $200 value, as well as the person that you've shared MoveQuest with a $200 value. Okay, I just added that into the Vanguard miners. Now I'm going to go through as a referring person who shared MoveQuest with eight. Let's say you shared it with eight people. I'm going to just give you an example here. You would have earned $7,200. Okay, remember that's paid instantly. The best way to do this when you're sharing MoveQuest is to have everybody start with those phantoms. You don't want to bring somebody, you don't want to share MoveQuest with somebody who doesn't understand the project. It is a bit complex. It's easy, okay, once you grasp it. But for the first week or two that they get started, especially if they're new to crypto, you really want them to get some basic knowledge in crypto. You don't want somebody to spend money until they really understand what they're doing, right? So those phantoms give people an opportunity to really kind of test out what MoveQuest is, to try to understand it, to understand what wallet security is. Because I would tell you that probably with MoveQuest, probably 80% of the users here are new to crypto. And so I really think that they need that week or two, unless they, just gung ho and they're ready to go. It's a decision that they make. But it's just the easiest way to ensure that they understand the project and that they don't have buyer's remorse later. Okay, because you see, you do this all on the blockchain. We don't take in cash. There's nobody managing this. You're operating everything through smart contracts. This is truly decentralized. So once they fund their wallet, once they mint those miners, there's no takey backies, right? It's done and it's recorded to the blockchain and that's it. And so you want them to understand, look, this is what MoveQuest is. This is how you secure your wallet. This is how, you do this, do that. This is how you navigate through the back office. This is how you evolve. This is what the hatcheries are. Let them have a really good understanding of how this works and let them start for free. But it also gives them time while they're understanding it to share it with a couple of people that want to understand it too with the free phantoms. If people set themselves up the right way and they set a date of when they're going to mint their Trailblazer miners, with two people, they can literally fill all 18 dock slots and have all of their money back instantly within a couple of minutes. So it's a really good way to, one, get started for free. Other than that proof of physical activity, it'll cost you like $54 a month to submit that to the blockchain. And then really dig in, understand what crypto is all about, how MoveQuest works, share it with a couple of more people, get them, to understand it and just kind of get this that little bit of traction going. And then you don't have any money out of pocket, except now the mining dock, right? You have to unlock the mining dock, but you've already got the miners taken care of. And that's, to me, I like that way because, like I said, you don't have anybody upset that says they don't understand it. Now, if you're somebody that, refers up to eight people, you've got that $7,200 in commissions. Now you can start with any level of miner. You can get 18 of those miners. You can unlock your mining dock slots, and you've got extra money in your pocket. Now, the other thing that we are working on, let's see, that will be starting probably Thursday. So I've already gone through this. You submit for the 120 days, you get the eight navigators, four on each chain, and what that market value is there. Now I'm going to go through, let's see. I'm not going to go through all this stuff here because, again, it's just telling you if you had the 8 that you shared it with, well, I guess I will. You would end up with 64 navigator miners. Okay. Now, this is pretty significant. So I am going to share it with you. If you set up with 8, and you can do the math down, if you set up with 2, 3, 4, whatever. I did it with 8 because I'm leading into something else as well. That's 64 navigator miners that you have now in your inventory. That's your digital real estate. Okay, that can be leased out when we launch the MoveQuest blockchain. Now you're going to earn those rental fees that you charge to renters who need your miners. Okay, if the miners are too expensive, because remember we lack the MoveQuest, then they'll be going to the marketplace and looking for miners that they can lease. Or you can evolve 18 of your navigator miners to 9 titans with what you've earned from commissions above, and you'd be able to mine with 9 titans just from those 8 referrals and submitting for 120 days with no money out of your pocket. Or for the same cost, you can mint your vanguards from the incubator and evolve to those 9 titans. Now remember, we were talking the other day, submission fees. I like to make sure that everything is either free or you can earn it, at almost no money out of your pocket. I like people to be happy because it's so, um, because everything is managed by the smart contracts. You never have to worry, that money's not there or it's going to fail or the project's going to go by the wayside. We've been here for 4.5 years. We have a stable market value right now in the $6 range. We only have a small community of like 2,000 people. Imagine what it's going to be like with 20,000 people. Okay, you're looking at a major difference in market value. Okay, even if it just was, 20 times more or 10 times more, 10 times more, you're looking at, a really good market value on that token. And so those submission fees, while today they may seem a bit expensive because AVAX has dropped so much, we are moving to USDT or using USDC. And now what we're going to do is we're going to match you with Q chips. Okay, those have a 10-cent internal market value. And when they are listed, they won't list for less than 10 cents. Whether they'll list more or higher than that, a lot depends on the tokenomics of that and the size of the community and how it's growing. Because we won't let Q chips compete with the MoveQuest market value. But you'll see other things coming into play that you'll be able to use those Q chips for. So what will happen is that you're going to get equal value in Q chips. So if you're mining with 18 navigators, the average proof of physical fee per day is 5 cents per miner, 90 cents a day, $108. Okay, over that 120 days. I based it on 120 days just because everything else is kind of twined into that 120 days above with getting the navigators. So you would, every single day that you submit, you're going to get 99 Q chips or 90 cents per day of Q chips. So you'd be getting $108 value. You'd getting, 9 per day. So this is wrong. It's actually, I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out. For some reason, it looks wrong. You're getting 200, your Trailblazers, it's going to cost $216 to submit that proof of physical activity for 120 days. Now remember, that's liquidity. Okay. And I haven't put that on here yet, but all of this is liquidity, those fees per day, those submission fees. So you're going to get $216 worth of Q chips, and you get that every day. So every day that you submit, you're going to get your Q chips, Q chips, Q chips. They're just there for you to claim. The Explorers, 120 days, $324 to submit for 120 days. That's $324 worth of Q chips you're going to be receiving. So you're going to get that equal value. Those of you who are mining with Vanguards, it runs about $360 a day to submit, $432 over 120 days. You're going to get $432 worth of Q chips. And I got to figure out, see, my little brain don't work good on simple math. It's so still silly. Hold on here a minute. I've never understood that. I have to use my fingers to count to 15. Okay, be 4,320 Q chips, guys. That's a big difference. You'd be getting that oh, that's probably what I was doing. You'd be getting 43.2 Q chips per day, but it'd be 4,320 Q chips over a period of 120 days. Now, you're spending that proof of physical activity, but you're gaining the Q chips. Think about that. 4,300 Q chips. Let's say that it lists at $1. Okay, it all depends on the liquidity. We have the Trailblazers and the Explorers, um, that when you mint those, that has extra money there. Okay, that we were giving those Trailblazers away. You had to evolve to get to the Explorer. So there's some new liquidity uh, inlets from the Trailblazers. So as we finish out the tokenomics and determine, we may do, because it is, an extra piece of liquidity, 50% may go into the Q chips, all of that, and the other 50% into liquidity. So I don't know exactly where the Q chip is going to sit, but it is still giving you back, at the very least, in value, what you've spent to submit your proof of physical activity. You can use it to evolve your miners. Okay, so you can use up to 50% of the cost to evolve using Q chips. So if you had to evolve 2 Vanguards to a Titan, it would cost you $400. You take your 2 Vanguards, merge them to 1 Titan plus $400. You could spend $200 worth of Q chips and then $200 of MoveQuest, and you would be able to upgrade or level up to a Titan miner. So it is going to give you internal value even before it's listed. And those of you who are mining with those Titans, you're spending $720 a day, and it's $864 for that 120 days. You're getting 86 Q chips per day. At the end of 120 days, if you just banked them, that's 8,000, 640 Q chips. So that is another perk that's coming to you. Again, more liquidity, more utility there, because you buy the Q chips from the store, so that does provide liquidity to the Q chips. Okay, people buy them to mint their miners. So they also buy them to do the pay as you go. And then, of course, we are giving them to you when you're doing that proof of physical activity submission. And so all of that does contribute to the ecosystem of the project. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about with you guys is our coordinator piece. And this map, it does not have on the leasing, the challenges. It doesn't have the MQT pay wallet. It doesn't have the MoveQuest blockchain yet. So I will finish that up, and then you'll be able to see the whole big picture of MoveQuest. If somebody has shared the project with 10 people, they qualify to be a MoveQuest coordinator. A MoveQuest coordinator can assign managers, okay, who build. Now, if a person has 10 people they've directly signed up, most the chances are that they have the ability to share the project and help to build that community. MoveQuest only offers a direct commission to the community on minting, and then a direct commission to the coordinators on the mining dock slots. Now, the community gets the free Vanguard when 18 slots are unlocked, but for a coordinator or influencer, they are given 30% plus the 5% bonus. And I'll tell you how that works if they give the full 30% away. So let's say that coordinator has 10 people they've shared MoveQuest with, they're mining, and they want to make them managers. Each one of their managers, they can give them 30% commission. And managers can create additional managers. So what that coordinator does, he goes into his dashboard, he goes to the influencer tab. You have to be a coordinator or a manager to see that. And what it does is it says, okay, who do you want to assign as a manager? And you would add that wallet address. They would assign it through a smart contract, and then they would set the commission amount that they want to share with that manager. Now, if it was me, I would tell anybody I was going to set up as manager, that you have to at least, share MoveQuest with two people who are mining that are going to be your managers, and they're going to go and do the same thing. Now, if the coordinator assigns a manager with 30%, that manager can now keep 5% for himself and assign 25% to his manager or managers. Now that manager can do the same. So you'll see here, the coordinator gave away 30% of his commission, okay, to his set of managers. Now this manager gave away, where's it at? 5%, 25% of his commission, and he kept 5. And this manager assigned his managers and assigned them 20%, keeping 5 for himself. The 20% manager set up his two managers and assigned 15%, keeping 5 for himself, all the way down to where the last manager is getting 5%. So each manager is getting a 5% commission on what they're bringing to the table. Even if all they did was share it with two managers, each manager, my calculations are based on, has built a team of 1,000 people. Now, when they're building that team, on the other side of the coin, that team who are not managers are getting that 50% commission on the Trailblazer or the Explorers. The coordinators and the managers are getting the commission on dock slots 2 through 10. And the reason we do that is, one, the affiliate commission on the miners is 50%. That's very high. And it allows people to be able to build the community, that peer-to-peer community, which is crucial in crypto, and be able to cover the cost of their mining. Okay, no levels, just straight direct commission of 50%. If you did the work, you brought in, that person who wants to get mining, you're going to get your 50% commission. That's it. It doesn't flow down into all these different levels. The managers, on the other hand, are on the flip side of that. Yes, they get the commission on people they share MoveQuest with on the miner side, but on the mining dock side, if this manager down here shares it with two managers, right? I'm going to bring this down here. This manager shares it with two managers. And then those two managers build a team of 1,000 each. This manager is getting 5% on 1,000 people. And he probably doesn't even know who they are. So what it allows them to do is to stay coordinated with their teams. The coordinator itself has got to manage a large amount of people, keep them educated, keep them engaged and understanding MoveQuest, to be able to navigate through the system. And then for the managers to be able to continue working with their teams who are getting the commission on the Trailblazer side, who don't get the commission on the mining dock side, but it gives them pay for working with the people they share MoveQuest with. Because MoveQuest is a bit daunting for people. People who are involved in crypto, they're used to simple, hypey projects. Pump in all your money and wait for the project to fall apart. 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. And they fall for the hype and all the other stuff. And it's simple. It's easy. All you got to do is, throw a bunch of money in and sit back and wait. Well, that is not MoveQuest, okay? You really don't even have to throw any money in. You just have to be engaged in the ecosystem, and you can really get yourself set up for nothing out of your pocket. But it is a true crypto project, so it is a bit complex. You do have to learn crypto. You have to understand it. So we need people to stay engaged with their teams, hence your coordinators, your managers, and then all of the extra perks on the community side, right, for staying engaged with the people you share it with. Now, I'm going to just give you a scenario, okay? And this is a rather large one because I always think big. If a coordinator has those 10 managers, and those 10 managers have the ability to build a community of 1,000 people each, that's 10,000 people who are engaged in the MoveQuest ecosystem. Those 10 managers have shared it and brought in 2 managers each themselves. You're looking at 20 managers, new managers who are going to build the same team of 1,000 each. Now you're looking at additional 20,000 users. These are milestones, okay? This doesn't have to happen overnight. But you get the right influencers, the right people who understand this, and they see the money and the health benefits that you get from using this app. This very stable, very secure, and it doesn't bankrupt because it is all smart contract managed. You get the right people in place, and it is going to happen very, very quickly. But if each one of these managers, and they use the suggestion I made, just shared it with two managers and they focused on building that community team of 1,000 people, we would end up with 160 managers and 160,000 people who are engaged in the ecosystem. Your coordinator building that, this is a team. Oh, yeah. This is a total team built of 310,000. It's just those 160 managers had 160,000 users. When you add up the 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, you're looking at a community size of 310,000 people. That coordinator will have earned $11 million. Each manager who has two managers, there's a difference when you have 10 managers or you have two managers and a team of 2,000. So you're looking at a coordinator who now has a team of 310,000 that he's managing or coordinating rather, and 310 managers who have made that happen. But that is the pay that that coordinator makes for staying engaged with his managers. I'm going to come in here. Okay, that's two. Now you guys got to watch the math on this and then just cut this in half. Okay, so not 310,000 users, it's going to be 155,000 users, then cut that in half, and you can do the math and you can see the progression of how this grows and how the liquidity grows. So I'm going to go right to the end, 310,000 users, which you guys is not out of scope. Look at Step In, Sweatcoin, Step App, all these, move to earns that can't get their market value on their token past a nickel. I don't think most of them are even at a penny or two right now. And they've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users over the last few years. I don't think they have, I think like Step In don't have that many active. I think it's much lower than that. I think they have like 11,000 last time I researched it. But my point is, we have 2,000 users. We have a stable market value of $6. That's really, really good. When you look at a project that's had millions of users go through their system and they can't get to a nickel, this would unlock that 310,000 users. This is assuming they're all mining with 18 miners, okay? 2,790,000 DOC slots. That's going to pay each manager who has a manager 36,000. So every manager who's built a team of 1,000, they would have made 36,000 if they have two managers and they reach that 1,000 team on each manager. That's $72,000 that would have paid them. That's pretty good for a team of 1,000 on the back end with a mining dock. This is based on $80 per slot. Now up above, you've seen me where I said the dock slots are going up to $100. And I put it there because I want people to be aware of that they are going up by $20. But down here on the commission side, I left it at 80 because we haven't raised it yet. And there are people who are building, and so they are only getting what the $80 is until it goes up. So that's why the difference is here. So those DAX slots, you guys, that's $223 million that it brings in. Now remember how much stays with the community. This is why it doesn't need that constant influx of new money, because everything within the ecosystem supports that liquidity pool. The coordinator smart contract has already escrowed that coordinator's $11 million. It's already escrowed the manager's $22 million that they got paid for a total smart contract managed, those payments to those managers and coordinators of $33 million. Now, when you come back over here to the liquidity from the DOC slots, it's $189,720,000 that's still left. MoveQuest has got more than enough banked, okay, still to cover that. So you are looking at 100% of that, 189,720,000, not 100% of it, but 90% of it. But that's big when you're looking at the ecosystem. The ecosystem is supposed to get 90%, for the ecosystem, but it would have had to bought MoveQuest with half of that originally. it's already bought all of that. So by all rights, or whatever you want to call it, 50% of that could literally go to the project. Okay, that'd be me, Wally, or whatever. That's not how this project operates, but that's what you would see in another project. This has already been banked, so it doesn't have to, it wouldn't have to do the whole thing. It does. So it takes that whole 189 million, pairs it to what's already banked in that MoveQuest, and it adds $379 million to the liquidity pool. That's how the liquidity is built up in this project, is from the engagement. Now you want to look at submissions. Okay, this is just from the mining doc flats. And that's 310,000 people, you guys, when you're looking at millions and these other ones is nothing. You get these hypey projects that last 6 months and they bring in, they bring hundreds, not hundreds, they bring 200,000 people into them in a matter of time, no time whatsoever. And it's no wonder that people get upset when, 3, 6 months later, they're gone. 4 years, we're still here. We will hit those marks. If you're mining, if the majority of the community, okay, is mining with trailblazers at 10 cents per miner, that's $279,000 a day that's coming in through submissions. Paired to MoveQuest, the banked MoveQuest, and there's so much MoveQuest banked, you guys. I'm gonna show you what, like if you were going in and like say Shark Tank, they were doing a valuation. This project has already got a valuation of a few $100 million just based on what we've banked. We actually have more banked in MoveQuest for liquidity than what the actual FDV is right now. That's how stable the project is. You may not see it in the pool right now, but it's there. It's already banked. That's over $500,000 a day going into liquidity. It's 203 million added per year to liquidity. 203 added to 379 million. Okay, you guys, this project is already structurally sound. It's already got all the foundation. We've already done we've proven our point, right, on the exchange with the blockchain. When you go and you see how everything is blockchain managed, everything is smart contracts. There is no person, there's not one person in the MoveQuest community to say, well, I got cheated, or they ran with my money, or I didn't get what I was supposed to get, because it's all managed by smart contracts. You're literally making a call to a smart contract. Everything is recorded to the blockchain. Everything is done instant. It's done in real time. And this liquidity just keeps building up and building up and building up. You're not going to see that in your other projects. When you go and ask them how they get their liquidity, you know how they get their liquidity. The community has to provide that liquidity out of their pocket. This liquidity is coming through the transactions within the ecosystem, the utility and the use of the ecosystem. Now, if the majority of the project is mining with explorers, you're looking at almost 1 million a day going into liquidity, 305 million per year. If they're mining with mostly vanguards, you are looking at 1.1 million per day, 407 million a year added to what's up there. Okay, now that doesn't include the trailblazers that have been minted, the explorers that have been minted, the vanguards that have been minted, the incubator. It doesn't include evolving up to the titans. Okay, all of that is liquidity too. This is just, one portion of liquidity. Titan miners. And eventually people want to get to those titans. We have a lot of titans at mine now. You're looking at 2.2 million a day in liquidity, or 814 million a year added to the mining dock flats. Okay, that's us going to 310,000 users within our community. Where's that at? Over here. Yeah, 310,000 people in our community, and it starts with free phantom miners. Everybody understanding the system so they don't make any rash decisions, right? You can't be brought in through hype with MoveQuest, because we don't hype it up. We're just very honest and upfront about how this project works and how it's managed and how it operates. What's critical right now is that when we deploy our blockchain, we would really like to see no less than 10,000 users on our blockchain. the day that we deploy it. So we got some work ahead of us when it comes to building the community. But when you throw in that blockchain, it's a hybrid blockchain and it does amazing things that blockchains aren't doing right now. We do have an upper edge in that area, luckily, because Waleed's been building that blockchain for the last 2 years. So it's not like we just decided. He's been listening to me for the last few years, hinting blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. And he always made me think he didn't want to do it. So I was like, okay, probably won't. But behind the scenes, he's been building it anyway because it allowed him to test, the MoveQuest features and how it works on our own chain. And so you guys are using the test net, our blockchain's test net inside the app. So you can already see, the Explorer and all that good stuff. When that blockchain deploys, if we start out with 10,000, 25,000, 100,000 users on that blockchain, all of you who have been here mining that MoveQuest token, do you realize that MQT would be the native coin on that blockchain? That's what the gas fees are for. And when you've got a good base of users on that blockchain, now we start to attract the projects that are coming in. You guys want to hold on to that MoveQuest if you can, okay, because it's very scarce. There's about 182,000 MoveQuest tokens in circulation right now. That's not much. So we start to get that momentum, and we're already, like I said, you guys, we're already working with teams to make this happen. But that doesn't mean there's not room for more, right? Because it'd be great to go from 310,000 users to 620,000 users or a million users. And we will get there. You just have to have the right people that know how to explain MoveQuest and share it. But we've put in all the pieces, okay, for this to be a success and for people not to have to go broke or worry about losing money. This is supposed to be a project that helps you feel healthier, be healthier, understand and learn crypto with a solid project that's done it the right way, completely decentralized, completely managed by smart contracts. You're in control of everything. Nobody's managing your money. We are not the custodian of anything you do here. And we've tried to make it as easy as possible and for as little amount of money as possible, and to give you every opportunity to get started in this project without having to break your bank account. So this is just a portion of what MoveQuest is, right? Now we have to add in, the challenges, the leasing, the MQT Pay wallet, and then the MoveQuest blockchain. This is what we have built into this over the last, 3.5 years of development. And we're making great strides. We're multi-chain, so we're gonna be opening up 5 more blockchains plus the MoveQuest blockchain. We deploy that. Some people have asked, why are we doing that? We're doing that because we want to be able to attract projects to use MoveQuest, this protocol. Think about this. If you were a project creator, right, and you were struggling, you didn't have the utility, and you had um, a good sized community. Let's say if the project's got 310,000, they don't have the utility, they're struggling, they really want their project to be successful, right? If they were to utilize MoveQuest for their utility, to create that utility for that project, and they were listed as a project that even this community could mine their token, that coordinator or that project creator, just by engaging their community with MoveQuest, would be able to add $11 million to their liquidity pool. Pairing it to their token would give them $22 million boost in their pool. This is a protocol that any project can use as long as they're legitimate. We don't, we vet them. I don't want any, I don't want to be a part of any project that is going to cause people to lose money or is a scam project or wasn't created the right way. But we have the ability to help them make their project a really strong project, help them get that liquidity, get their community engaged. That's all it takes. It just takes a couple of those projects that get this and understand it, that open it up. And when you start to have multiple projects on multiple chains that are mining and using our platform or our protocol for to introduce their token, they it opens the doors to them too. So think about it. One project comes in, let's say it is a project that's got the 310,000 people in their community, and they begin mining the MoveQuest token. They mint the miners. That project also adds tokens, right? They set up their contract just like Bullish Moon did. And so now their community can mine their token. Our community can mine it. But now the next project that wants to use MoveQuest sees that there's 310,000 users using MoveQuest. And all they have to do is bring their legitimate project and get their contracts, because it's all managed by smart contracts, just like MoveQuest is, bring their community. Now they have the potential of 310,000 people already using MoveQuest, mining MoveQuest to begin mining their token. Now we just gave them a huge bump, but they brought their community too. So maybe it's a couple 100,000 people. Now those couple 100,000 people are mining MoveQuest, and they're mining the other project's token as well. And eventually you'll see where it's not just one or two or three projects, but it could be many, many, many projects. And that is great for the MoveQuest blockchain, because those projects can build on the MoveQuest blockchain, and we can help them with better smart contract capabilities. There's a lot of things that are going to be really good for devs with our blockchain. So you guys, you're here at the right time. This is not a small project. Of course, something like this isn't going to, take off to the moon overnight, but I'm going to tell you that there is a day that's going to come when it does. And it's going to be a lot of happy people. Okay. And those little days of, a little that disdain towards the proof of physical activity costs, while AVAX is like dipping into its real lows. You guys won't even remember that. It'll be like a thing of the past. You'll be like, what was that? you know, I didn't miss that. Still didn't miss. I might have complained, but I still didn't miss. You guys will love it. So we'll make that. If any of you who do want that MoveQuest map, it on a PDF, you just have to zoom in on it, right? You'll get that little look on it, like it doesn't open or won't, like you can't read it, but all you have to do is just zoom it. And you can actually go through all of those pieces and see how they work. But it's set up exactly as it is designed. Okay, it may not be the flow currently on the website or the dashboard, but you can see exactly how that works. And then as I continue to update that, we'll get you the updated version when it's finally finished. We'll get it up on the dashboard so people can use it. I almost feel like it's easier to show MoveQuest this way than it is to try to pile it all into a presentation, because you just can't get enough in the presentations, where here you actually get to see the flow of it and how it all works. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I've been thinking lately. So that is all I have for tonight. Those of you that are waiting on Q chips, I don't know what is the contract that Waleed created something for us to be able to send those out. They didn't go out. So he's working on fixing it. But right now he's finishing up the update on the USDT, USDC. He is finishing up the 4 free navigators on MoveQuest and Avalanche free if you submit for the 120 days. Also getting the Q chips when you submit. Okay, he's finishing all that up. He's hoping to, there's nothing that I give him that isn't complicated. Even when he tells me, oh yeah, we can do that, it'll be easy in a day or two. It always ends up being super complicated in the end, because we've got um, the core contracts of MoveQuest. And when we have to go in and make an adjustment to one of the core contracts, you have to be super, super careful that there are no issues that happen. And so there have been a couple of issues that did come up with what I've asked him to do, which I explained tonight. He has to make sure all of that's, debugged, and then test and test and test and test, because we can't deploy something and have it mess up this very complex project. And he keeps asking me to quit creating things that he has to add to the core part of this. And I keep telling him that I won't. But for some reason, these things just keep coming up, and I just can't help myself. So as soon as he gets that done, and he says it will be ready to deploy on Thursday, as long as he doesn't have any challenges, then hopefully that's all will go on Thursday. Then he can go in. He is going to try to fix that script that he made so I can send out those Q chips. If he does do that tonight, then we'll get them sent out right away. But I've tried to do it twice now, and it ends up failing. So I don't know what it is. He's got to go in and figure it out. It's a one-time use, like for me to use it, and it hasn't been allowing me to use it. So that was the deal with that. And I'm trying to think there's anything else. Don't think so at this moment, but that's what I have tonight. So Herschel,
All right,
Hayden,
all
whichever one
right.
you wanna.
Covered quite a bit. If you want, if you take a look at the chat, well, the Q&A real quick, if you can kind of skim through there, I think you covered a good number of them with letting us know what's going on with the Q chips. Let me see. But if you see anything else,
Yeah, I'll just answer real quick. Won't the hatcheries have to be increased as cards mature and people want to redeposit with reward amount? Okay, so if your card um, is able to, you're able to claim it or you're able to renew it, right? If there's not room for the rewards would go back to your wallet and you would be able to renew your original card. So if there's not enough room in there to accept the amount of MoveQuest that you farmed, it would still allow you to renew your initial card, but it would send back the MoveQuest that you farmed. So you won't lose your spot, but you may not be able to add the amount of MoveQuest that you farmed. And that would, because we can't just increase it to allow the farmed MoveQuest because it doesn't work within the algorithms or within the balance and check systems that's there or within the mining difficulty range, all that stuff. So it would still keep its max value if it hadn't increased yet. If it does increase and there was room, then you would be able to renew and you would be able to deposit your farmed amount. Springboarding on a video circulating about purchasing 5 MQT a week to place in hatchery. What would be the effect if we all purchased 5 MoveQuest every MoveQuest Monday or 5 on Friday? Let's say 5,000 are purchased on same day every week. Is that enough to drive the price up, which would increase submissions? You know what? That's a really good. I'm going to actually, let me copy that. I can't give you that right this second, but I am going to copy this. That gives me something fun to do on my spreadsheets. And let me post this into one of my notes really quickly. And I'll have that for you on Thursday. Because that's a good, I know it does a lot. I had already run the hatcheries. If somebody had started out with like, $5, how many cycles would they have to do to make $1 million based on the amount of MoveQuest and the market value of MoveQuest? But that's an interesting way to do it too. What does locked MoveQuest mean? Okay, what that means is when we reach a certain number in our community of people, the MoveQuest, let's say MoveQuest is $100, and it takes one MoveQuest to mint one Trailblazer miner, which costs $100, and that MoveQuest is now locked. That means it will always take one MoveQuest. So if MoveQuest was $50, then it would always take one MoveQuest, and that would make that Trailblazer $50. These are NFTs. They are ERC 721 tokens. And so you want those tokens to have a market value because here in the near future, we will have the marketplace open where you'll be able to swap your miners, you'll be able to sell your miners, you'll be able to auction your miners off as well. And so also leasing them can also help to increase that market value. Now, let's say MoveQuest goes to $1,000. It will still take one MoveQuest to mint a Trailblazer. So now your $100 Trailblazer has a market value of $1,000 because that MoveQuest has been locked. But we have to reach a certain size of community. The demand has to be there for those miners so that when that market value does increase like that, people aren't necessarily able to afford to buy the miners anymore. It drives up the demand for the leasing of those miners, swapping, trading, all that stuff. It makes all of that now competitive. And so that will happen, obviously, more so when that MoveQuest is locked. When that'll happen, I don't know. It's written into the algorithm. And so it'll know when it's time to do that. That's another reason why we do so many promotions for the community. So you guys can really start to bank up an inventory of those miners so that when they are too expensive to mint, people will be able to lease them from the community. And so the community can still grow so we don't, lock people down. But people will spend $1,000 for a trailblazer when you have a market value, in the Bitcoin range. And trust me, that 310,000 users in that demonstration I gave you tonight would take us there. Um, and people will spend $1,000 for a miner to make a few $100s a day from their proof of physical activity becoming healthy. We're just not at those market values yet, but it doesn't take hardly anything to get there. It doesn't take millions and millions of people to see MoveQuest hit, $1,000 or $2,000. It doesn't take nothing for us to go above what Ethereum's market value is today. It takes very little to get there, especially with our tokenomics, because we don't have a whole lot in circulation. And what the community does hold in the hatcheries really isn't that much either. It's 800 and like 45,000 MoveQuest tokens. When you're talking 400,000 people coming in, then those hatcheries, when they're ready to be claimed, even if you have 50,000 to 100,000 people, the demand for that token is going to be insane. And when you're coming out of that hatchery, you want to spend a percentage of it and put some back in it, that's fine. It'll be worth it to you to do that, but the liquidity will be there, and a stable liquidity will be there at that time for you to be able to do it. So everything, is created and set up to make sure that at each milestone, the stability of that market value of that token is stable. And so locking that MoveQuest, there's a lot of factors that play into that. You don't want to do it too soon, obviously, and you don't want to do it too late either. I based this on the 120 days because of the different rewards that go on. The phantoms, a lot of people do get started with the phantom miners, and we encourage people to do that before they mint so that they get a good understanding of the project. So they have no, misunderstandings of what this is. They make sure that when they buy that crypto and they mint those miners, that they've made a good judgment call on it and an educated one. And those phantom miners have a shelf life of 135 days. If the person you shared MoveQuest with submits their proof of physical activity for 120 days, they're going to get 4 navigators for free. The person who shared it with them, if they've also submitted their proof of physical activity for 120 days out of the 135, are going to get those 4 navigators. So when I did this map in the illustrations or the demonstration here, I based it on that 120 days simply for the free navigators that they can mint once they've done that proof of physical activity. So that's why that's there. The Q-tip is going to be retroactive to the beginning of the challenge. Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about with the challenge. We don't have a Q-chip challenge, and they're not retro. So the day that those contracts are deployed, which is hopefully Thursday, I'm assuming, David, that you're talking about the proof of physical activity match, right? You submit proof of physical activity, you get the matching amount, dollar value, and move Q-chip. It will start the day that that contract is deployed. It's too taxing on a smart contract to have to go backwards and retrieve all that data and try to calculate it. It times out on the gas fee, and it ends up losing, and it doesn't collect all that data, especially with the amount of data that it would have to search through. So it will start on the day that that is deployed. Yes, to Lush 2020. If you've already brought in 5 people, that is counted towards the 10, 100%. It absolutely is. Will this PDF be available soon and where? Yeah, it's available now. I don't know, Hayden
In the
or
chat.
Herschel, is there a way? Okay, if you go to
posted the
the
PDF in the chat right now. So
Awesome.
let me know if you guys
You
can't see.
put the, did you put the updated one in there?
I copied it after you finished. I went and copied what was there then. So if that's the latest version, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Yep. So yeah, if you go into the chat, you'll be able to see it in the chat. If somebody didn't, we can post it in Discord and we can post it in the WhatsApp chats and on Facebook too. Maybe this will be looking to. Is there a way to link our website with Bullish Moon that we share to our AVAX address or future USDT? This way, when we add people, it helps the next person not to have to ask us for our wallet. Ensures they're linked. I'm sure there's a way, Samantha. If let me copy this too, because this is something I would have to look into. Let me put that on my notes here. So I can look into that. I can't give you an answer right now, but I can definitely check into it for you. Do we have a promoter group where we can brainstorm? We can create MoveQuest flyers, magnets, etc. We do. And if you're a part of the Bullish Moon community, Samantha, then Kishira can probably connect you with that marketing group that we have that does a lot of brainstorming. And thank you. I don't always have a good attitude, but when I talk about MoveQuest, I've always got one. I love MoveQuest. Let's see. Eventually, when the BNB blockchain relaunches as one of the 5 blockchains that is coming. Yes. Okay. So the once we're done with so the Binance Smart Chain is included in all of the chains that we're currently working on. The Binance Smart Chain had to be completely I don't want to use the word redone, but kind of it needed to be redone because all of the smart contracts that we are using for Avalanche needs to be incorporated. Not all of them, but a majority of them for that blockchain. Also, want to let everybody know when we deploy these additional blockchains, you will have those of you who are doing the mirrored miner challenge, whether it's 100%, 40%, or 15%, and either on any of the 3 are valuable, okay, because you're getting those miners on all of those chains. Now, when you get those miners, you do not submit on every single chain. You'll only submit on one chain. And most likely, you guys would be submitting on the MoveQuest blockchain. But where those miners come in handy for you is they become your digital real estate, okay? And so when people are coming to MoveQuest and they're leasing those miners, you may not have them available on the MoveQuest blockchain, but you would have them available on 6 other chains. And now you would be able to lease them out on all of those different chains, which is good when new projects are coming to build from those chains because they've already got engaged users on those chains. And so that's I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So even though we have the 7 blockchains, you don't want to submit on all 7 chains. It's coming from the same pool. The system won't even let you do that. It would have to be a separate miner that's mining on that chain. For one thing, you would be overspending on that proof of physical activity. So everything we do here has to make sense, right? And it wouldn't make sense for you to mine on all 7 of those blockchains. Would you please clarify the statement you made last week regarding we will only choose one chain to submit on? Oh, I didn't even see your question there, but hopefully I just did explain that to you.
Just
I
real
am
quick,
submitting a
Lynette, before we go further, Janine, the answer is no. You are not limited to mining on one chain. You're
right.
not
You're not.
limited to mining on one chain. You can mine on as many of them as you would like, if you can afford to do so.
But not for the MoveQuest token. You only submit on one chain for MoveQuest, but the other chains, as other projects are building on them, you would have miners and would be able to submit on whatever chain they're on because you have those miners. Now, I will double check with Wally to make sure that what I'm telling you is accurate, but to me, it doesn't make sense to do it that way. Yes, it would be great because it would triple our community size, but we're utilizing the same people. And I don't know that that's beneficial to the community because maybe it would be. It would increase the proof of physical activity submissions, which would increase the amount of MoveQuest that could go out each day. So, I mean, as long as that balance and checks is there, maybe he is setting it up that way. You know, I communicated to him that you should only be able to submit on one chain for the MoveQuest token. But hey, what you just said, Herschel, it's your understanding that you're able to go and mint or mine on any chain, correct? On all the chains if they want to.
Yeah, that was my
Considering the
So
fact
understanding.
that it was the liquidity pool in and of itself was it
it's
was
one pool.
a liquidity pool. That was my understanding, or has been my understanding from inception.
Yeah, I think it was
Well,
mentioned that we would be able to toggle the same way how we toggle from AVAX to Binance and then submit on Binance with the same proof of physical activity. It sounded like we were able to toggle between
so okay.
Solana, etc.
That really is bad, isn't it? Okay. So I have
And
to
that's that's what I know in Hayden's presentation as well. That's the message that's been being communicated. So if it's not,
Yeah,
we want to make sure that
well,
we
if Wall Lead has okay, so when I give him a blueprint of what to create, right? I have to go back and look at that mining blueprint. Here's the thing. If you've got but I guess it would still balance itself out. It's wrapped MoveQuest.
yeah, it's wrapped.
yeah, it's wrap move
You
quest.
guys are probably right, and I'm probably wrong
Because I was gonna say I don't
because
see how
I'm
you can
sitting there
stop
thinking,
people
you
from
know,
doing
why
it.
would you want to? But yeah, I guess you're right because if I'm one person and I have 7 chains, yeah, because you can mine, you have to have the miners on the Binance Smart Chain. It's one pool. You know, you guys are right and I'm wrong. I'm going to go look at my notes here real quick. I got to go look at the blueprint. So while we're doing that, um, or I'll just have the answer for sure on Thursday. But now that you guys are saying that, you are right because we have to wrap the move quest on each one of those chains. So if somebody was mining with 18 Titans and at $7.20, they would be spending $7.20 times 6
That's right.
chains. That would give them more move quest. It would also increase the
Submissions.
daily well, it will increase the submissions, which would deepen the liquidity pool, but it would
Mhm.
also increase the amount of MoveQuest that could be mined each day.
That's right. So it comes down to
So
like
the
what Herschel was
balance and
saying,
yeah, the
affordability.
balance in text is still there. I don't know why I was thinking that you couldn't. Probably because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, why would somebody want to spend $60?
I can promise
You
you.
know, but the dynamic mining changes that whole dynamic, and that's the
Right.
piece. So when we started mapping this out, we hadn't gone to that dynamic mining yet. Now, had we not gone to the dynamic mining, we would not have done that way, right?
Right.
You would have just but now that we're at the dynamic mining, it only releases X amount of move quests per the number of submissions. So the amount of submissions would be increasing, which would increase the amount of move quests. So it wouldn't take it away from the lower powered miners. So you guys are right and I am wrong.
Hey, and Lynette.
Before we went to the dynamic mining, we would not have allowed you to mine for the move quest on each chain. The dynamic mining is what changed that whole
Gotcha.
scenario. So you
Yeah.
guys are right, and I was wrong on that one. So
Because
good job on me.
I can promise you the majority of the people that see the value that's going, not just that as value, but the value in getting them is the ability to be able to do that should you choose to, or
Yeah.
what have you.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
we got
do
some people
believe.
celebrating. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
no,
of
that's
excitement
good.
about that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you guys checked me on that because originally you wouldn't have been able to. Then we went to the dynamic mining. That's why we went to the mirror miner match. So people would have them on all the chains and they didn't have to. See, we don't want the community to have to spend money all the time. You know what I mean? Which is why we did the mirror match. Just stay engaged, do the proof of physical activity. We'll do the mirror miner match, get you on the chains. Because the people that are coming, they're going to be coming in after we deploy all these blockchains, they're going to pick the chain they want to mine on, and that's where they're going to mint their miners. So you don't have to submit on all, but you can. So yeah, you guys are right. And I didn't really,
Hey, you know, Lynette,
I was still locked into the original way.
Lynette, iron sharpens iron. You're the one who's helping us to be so sharp of what's going on with this entire project. So we got your back when it comes to the information. So we're only sharp
Oh my God.
because we're only sharp because you're sharpening us up.
If you guys even knew how much of this I have to try to retain in my brain, because
Mhm.
even what we present to you guys, there's still smart contracts that are operating and syncing and retrieving and doing all this stuff behind the scenes. There's times I go to Ollie, I'm like, what the hell is this contract? I mean, where'd this one come from? Like, I mean, there's got to be over 200 smart contracts already and millions of lines of code. Like, this is a crazy project. And you guys, we own it all. There's no third party
Oh,
systems in this project whatsoever.
awesome.
There's no failure here. You know, we're both perfectionists along with many of you in the community because you guys contribute a lot to this project. This isn't just a me project anymore. This is a collaboration from so many of you here that have that come up with ideas or ask me about certain things, and then my I have to go to work and think it through and figure out how to balance it all in and add it into the system and structure. Then Waleed has to take all that and then he has to try to code it into this, you know, and keep it still operating smoothly. Um, the Q chips to purchase the booths, again, right now, when you buy the boosts, it is taking that MoveQuest out of circulation, right? It's decreasing the supply and it's putting that MoveQuest into the liquidity bank. So at the moment, you probably won't be able to purchase boosts with the Q chips, but in the future, and this is the other reason why it's good to have the Q chips, we are going to come to a point where we don't have enough MoveQuest in circulation. And then you have to worry about an inflated market value. And we don't want an inflated market value. We want a stable market value that's supported with the liquidity pool. When that happens, the ecosystem can naturally make adjustments. One, by saying, okay, now we're going to take Q chips for boosts, which will leave MoveQuest in circulation, which will bring that inflated market value down by putting and leaving that MoveQuest there in circulation. Let's say that the demand is too high for the amount that's in circulation. The liquidity injections, maybe it's not stabilizing it where it needs to be because it likes the algorithm I created for the liquidity. It likes to stay between 10 and 30% away from having a fluid liquidity pool, which right now we're under 10% away from that, which is really good. So it's got a lot of wiggle room there. It's got between, it's got 10 to 20% that it can fluctuate. But let's just say that the injection is not high enough to meet that demand. Then it could say, okay, Q chips to mint explorers or Q chips to mint the vanguards in the incubator, because then it would release that MoveQuest into circulation, which would bring that inflated market value down. You don't want an inflated market value. That's people can take advantage of that and they wipe out your liquidity too fast with that inflated market value. That's what you see with your rug pulls and your whales and all these, pump and dump type of scenarios. You don't want that here in MoveQuest. And that Q chip is going to kind of act as a balancer when we do start to grow to those higher levels and you start to see that market value, if it starts to go over that, where we're now 40% away from being fluid or we're at a 50-50 fluid pool, that algorithm won't let that happen. And it would bring that Q chip into effect into that ecosystem so that that MoveQuest stays circulating and can be sold and bring that, hyper inflated market value back into a manageable, stable market value. Um, I'm going to check on that with the Peloton movements, Kim. I don't use Peloton, but that doesn't mean that. So, what it means when I say that is that I don't have a clue. I have to find out how that works. But if I had a Peloton, I would certainly want it to go. Now, Herschel or Hayden, you guys may have an answer on that. Is that part of a workout or something? Or does Peloton like calculate these movements like a fitness tracker? What or something? I've never used a Peloton.
Yes. The question is the workout itself. The problem is that your data source you could get the data. If there's a connection directly to Apple Health, I don't believe there's a Peloton. I haven't pulled it up on Android to see if there's a direct Peloton data source. Um, but steps, distance, calories, workouts. Hmm. Steps, distance, calories, workouts. Stuff. That's going to be interesting. I don't think there's a connection with, and I'm actually looking for it now. I don't think there's a direct connection with Android. Not sure about Apple, but there may be a bridge. Yeah, I'll have to check on that too to see um, how that actually works. Yeah, I have to check on that. Mhm.
Okay, so let's see here. Adolf in the net. Okay, so on the MoveQuest test blockchain, right? I have to check with Waleed and see how that hatchery and all that stuff is working. That is a play. It's like a sandbox, like for developers. It's a playground. None of it's real. I mean, it's real, but it's not real. You will never be able to sell those move quests. They're like monopoly money. And so I did ask Waleed not to focus on the hatchery and stuff on that test net yet because we've got things that need to be done over here first. So once we get that done, he can go in and he can look at the hatchery. I have to go in there too and set the values and everything so it really replicates what's over here on the avalanche chain, so people get a realistic kind of idea over there on that Quest blockchain, the MoveQuest blockchain. I don't call it Quest. Somebody actually said, "Did you know that there was a Quest net blockchain?" I guess it was a scam chain, and I wanted to know if I was a part of it. I'd never heard of it, and so we don't use that in any of the descriptions. It's still in MetaMask, I guess, because you'd have to actually like re-add our network after I had Waleed change all of that that name off everything. So we won't be using it as QuestNet. It will be the MQT blockchain, period. What are the steps to start mining Bullish Moon? If you go into your app, you submit your proof of physical activity for MoveQuest, and then at the top of your submission page, you'll see projects, tap project. It'll open that up and you can submit right there. I know ECMO Randy. I know you said like a lot of times, what you can't mine all chains. We aren't wrapping MoveQuest. We are wrapping MoveQuest, and I was wrong, but I'm sure you heard all that, and all is good now, right? So you will and can mine. I was just one, I'm like super duper stupid tired tonight, and my brain don't always function real well in the evening. It's much sharper in the morning and daytime. Let's see, Lynette. Sorry if I missed the
One question I want to
answers.
get clarification on there, Lynette. Um, in that original question, and I've seen a couple comments since then. If more people are mining, does that increase or decrease submission fees?
Right now, it doesn't do either. The dynamic mining is in place, but it doesn't actually. The change in the submission fee will not begin to drop until it sees a steady 10,000 submissions. That's why we're doing the Q chip. So there has to be like I said, the balance in the liquidity pool. Now, if let's just say it gets crazy next week, right? And 5,000 people are setting up in MoveQuest and unlocking doc slots and minting trailblazers now. That's a different scenario. Okay. Then you would see those proof of physical activity submission fees start to decrease because it is injecting a ton of liquidity. And that's the thing. It looks at what is the market value, the amount of MoveQuest that's going out to the proof of physical activity submission fee. It's not about whether the user is seeing value. Okay, let's say your submission fee is for a Titan, right? All 18 Titans, $7.20 to submit that proof of physical activity. I don't know if you're getting one move quest or 1.5 move quest, but if it doesn't meet the $7.20 range, if the submission fee drop, that means what's going into liquidity would not be available either. And so what the ecosystem is doing when you have the lower market value is making sure that when it injects the liquidity and it waits till the large amounts go in, not as often as little amounts. The larger injections are once it sees selling pressure diminish and it can add and get more value at that lower market value. So to lower the submission fees before it gets to a certain level would be counterproductive to the stability of the liquidity pool. Now, when it starts, that liquidity pool deepens, and then I've shown you what the values are from the low market value to what it can support on a high market value, then you would see those submission fees start to come down, and it wouldn't have to have 10,000 users. So there's so many dynamics that play into it. More than anything, it's about the depth of that liquidity pool. And the closer we get to a fluid pool, the closer we get to those submission fees starting to come down. So it doesn't necessarily, by default, it says 10,000 users, right? Unless condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, condition 4 are met. And when those conditions are met based on liquidity depth, then it would override the 10,000 base and it would be able to start to lower those proof of physical activity submission fees. It's a lot to try to explain how that whole dynamic works, but for simplicity, 10,000 users, and you start to see the proof of physical activity drop. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't drop sooner, because there are exceptions to that would begin to bring that down. Now, even when the submission fees begin to decrease, you guys, you'll still get the Q chips. That's an ongoing feature. And then once we list the Q chips on the market, then you would no longer get the Q chips. So you know how a lot of projects do pre-sales or whatnot on their tokens, and they undervalue what, they sell them at a lower market value or diminished market value. They give you way too many. Okay, a million tokens for $1,000, for example, and then they don't have that million. They don't have enough money to back a million of those tokens. So why those tokens could never get up over 0001 or 001 on an exchange. With the Q chip, there's no pre-sale. The only way you can get Q chips is from the proof of physical activity submissions, or you buy them from the MoveQuest store. That's it. So there is no pre-sale, there's no nothing. So those of you who are holding them, when the token lists, it will all, how much liquidity goes to it, what the token value will list at, will determine on how much that Q chip is banked from within the ecosystem, from it being used in the ecosystem. The evolution right now, minting from the Trailblazers, that kind of stuff. So I'll do up all of the tokenomics on the Q chips here in the next few weeks, so you guys have an idea of how those work. So basically, that proof of physical activity is how you acquire those Q chips, and what you do with them is up to you. Once we list it, it would also have a hatchery, and it would have all of the things that the MoveQuest token does as well. The submission costs will never increase. There's no reason for the proof of physical activity submission to increase. It doesn't need to ever increase. This is dynamically set based on the market value of the token, as is how that market value increases and how it's backed with the injection of the liquidity. And that all comes from within the ecosystem. So what you're saying, Adolf, is not accurate. You have, the whole thing is all connected to each other. If you've got 1,000 people who come in and they've minted 18 Trailblazers, they've unlocked 18 mining dock slots, they've added 1,000 people that are daily submitting that proof of physical activity. It's already backed the liquidity just from minting those miners, unlocking those mining dock slots. Now they're contributing to the ecosystem every single day with their proof of physical activity. The demand for that token is what drives up the market value. If there's not enough demand for the token, then you have the selling pressure. People are selling before the demand is there. It lowers the market value. But as the community size is increasing, it is stabilizing the liquidity pool and that market value of that token. For example, we're 9% away from having a fluid liquidity pool for the amount of token that's in circulation. There's no reason to increase the proof of physical activity because that fee is dynamically set with the amount of MoveQuest that is being mined each day. So when a new person starts to submit that proof of physical activity and the extra MoveQuest is going out that day, it's also backed with that proof of physical activity submission to cover whatever that market value would be or take it to. You get 10,000 people that are doing that. Okay, you've got all of that that's coming into the liquidity from minting miners, mining dock slots. It injects that into the pool, creates that depth to pre-back what those miners are going to do. Now, all of those people are engaged. They're submitting that proof of physical activity. That's liquidity that's building up to be injected to cover what is being mined on a daily basis. So the fees do not need to increase. You start seeing market values, okay, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Okay, that means you've got 50, 60, 100,000 people, okay, who are mining and that are submitting that proof of physical activity all day long or every day, okay, throughout 24 hours of the day. But they've also already backed and deepened that liquidity pool because they minted miners and all of that stuff. So the fees you'll never see these. If anything, you'll see as the community is growing and increasing, you'll see those fees start to go down. Okay. There'll be an overflow in the liquidity pool and you'll see fees come down. You don't see the fees go up because there's more users who are mining the MoveQuest. So hopefully, I know that was a long explanation, but hopefully that helps you guys understand it. Then we would only make MoveQuest on one chain. Yep, Julie, you do get to mine it on all chains before the miner match started. Yes, I know you guys. I'm sorry, I just sent I sent this whole, all of you that are in this Zoom tonight, I sent you guys all into panic mode, didn't I? Sorry.
All right. All right. Oh, and Hayden, I resent that directly so that would confuse people in the chat. That's all. Let me
I
see.
have two more things I have to just answer real quick. One to Dustin and one to Yitzi.
Okay.
So right now, because I had not done the tokenomics on the Q chips, Waleed minted 100 million of them. And the only reason he did that is so that we didn't have to remint those tokens. And so what will happen is that we will just send back, we burn them out basically is what we do. So whatever we decide on the tokenomics, whatever we set it at will be burned. I don't know if it's going to stick at 21 million. See, the 21 million is done intentionally to mimic the amount that started out with Bitcoin and therefore you're having. With the Q chips, they've got a different use within the ecosystem. And so a lot is going to depend on, and I have to run the numbers and everything on it. What will ultimately they be used for? It can't compete with MoveQuest. And it probably wouldn't have the same, it would still have a good chance of being a really good market value, but whether it would reach what the MoveQuest market value would do. MoveQuest has the potential to surpass Bitcoin in a very short time frame. It would never take as long as it's taken Bitcoin to get where it's at, nor would it take the amount of people. Where with the Q chip, it's got a different use, not as much use. It may not even have 21 million. I haven't completely decided exactly how that one's got to work. I have to do a lot of work on that, on the tokenomics of the Q chips. And you will not always to yet see get the Q chips. When the Q chips are listed, they will stop going out to match the proof of physical activity. This is the way that you acquire the Q chips. You either buy them from the marketplace or you get them from your proof of physical activity. We won't have a pre-sale or anything like that on them. So to get the Q chips, you submit that proof of physical activity on the day the Q chip token is listed. And I can't tell you when that would be. A lot of it depends on so many things. It could be 3 months from now. It could be 3 years from now. But we'll know as we go how that will all intricately work within the ecosystem, and what its use will be, what its role will be, on the blockchain, what its role will be with other features that are coming into MoveQuest, if it would have a specific use. There's so many things that have to play into that role. Then we would know, better when it will list, what it would list at, and generally, I would say should list within the 50 cent to the $1 mark on the Q chip, but you're no pre-sale on these. So if you want the Q chip, that's how you get them, proof of physical activity, or you have to get them from the marketplace in MoveQuest because they aren't listed yet.
Very exciting though.
Yeah,
ERC
yeah.
20,
Oh yeah.
ERC 20. How often do you get access to a token as pretty straightforward as that? It's crazy.
Yep,
Very cool.
100%.
It is.
Do that.
It is. All right. Well, everyone, the PDF has been put in the Discord. It has been put in the Facebook group. And I don't know if nobody could see it in the chat, but I put it in there about 20 times too. So if you didn't get it, you can find it in either in Discord or the Facebook group. And I'm pretty sure others will start circulating it around as well. All right. Anything else from you before we go ahead and wrap it up, Miss Lynette?
Nope, I am all set if everybody is good on their end.
All right. See, we kept
Appreciate you guys coming to the calls.
absolutely. We held everybody's attention for 2 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and let everybody have the rest of their evening. I know that there was a lot of
That was 2 hours. Wow.
or what have you. So I know there's a lot of information on that call. So I will be getting the recording out here in just a few as soon as I can get it downloaded and and all that good stuff. But once again, we appreciate all of you for being here, and we will catch you guys on Thursday, I believe it is. As soon as I can get some of this stuff off my screen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. What did I just do?
Yep.
You cannot
Good night, everybody.
tell me I can't do something while I'm on here. That's new. That's okay. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and we're going to see you guys on the next one. Find something different to put y'all out on. Where are we at here? Oh, and on that Peloton thing, guys, it is so funny that did come up because it was on my list of things to have to go research. Stay tuned for all you Peloton users. And for those of you that have thought about getting a Peloton at some point in the future, you may actually start seeing some Peloton competitions and challenges within the MoveQuest ecosystem. So I think that'll be fun as well. And it will also help us attract people that are not already in MoveQuest for some of the things that we'll be able to do with that. So Waleed, I know Lynette has you doing a lot of things or what have you, but we're gonna make sure we do our part on this side so that we can get to the point to where we can leverage those challenges on chain, because I think that's definitely going to start creating a lot of excitement within the ecosystem. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and shut up. I just wanted to make it officially 2 hours, and this song will close that out for us. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will see you guys on Thursday.
Hey, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 The horizon line that I'm born to cross. chains and I'm burning the low. My satellite's my guide. I got a digital engine burning deep inside. From the city concrete to the mountain mud, riding my contract in my own red blood. The trail is calling and it don't take no. I got 1,000,000 miles left to go. It's a world without borders, a map without end. Every mile I conquer is a digital friend. I'm out on the MoveQuest trail. I'm a hurricane wind in a tattered sail. Every step is a token, every mile is a win. I'm shedding the past and the original sin. Tracked by the light, wanted by the sun. The quest ain't over till the work is done. MoveQuest trail. Go the extra mile. I'm doing it now with a honest smile. Bedrolls are shouting, don't you dare slow down. I'm the king of the trail, I don't need a crown. Move to earn is the code I live. I got a lot to take, cause I got a lot to give. My GPS is humming, victory song. This is where the brave and the bold belong. The original sin, tracked by the light, wanted by the sun. The quest ain't over till the work is done. Step, minute, run, minute. I'm the master of the circuit. The world is the gym, the quest is the way. I'm earning the glory of a brand new day. Out on the MoveQuest trail, out on the MoveQuest trail. I'm a hurricane wind in a tattered sail. Every step is a token, every mile is a win. I'm shedding the past and the original sin. On the trail, MoveQuest trail, through the fire. MoveQuest trail, higher and higher and higher. Check the map, I'm still